The more, the merrier. This statement has certainly been true when it comes to the Chinese traditional values towards their newborns. From 1949 to 1979, in merely 30 years, China's population nearly doubled. Hoping to balance between the population boom and the limited resources, the Chinese government enacted the one-child policy. Fast forward to today, however, new problems emerge. The aging population and the shortage of labor, which forced the government to strike the old policy and instituted a new two-child policy. While the new policy is expected to help bring labor back to China and take pressure off social welfare, will it too present new challenges to the working women?
I've been working at this company for 5 years as manager. My company wants to promote me to director soon. I've always wanted to have another child. My daughter just feels so lonely without any siblings. With the new policy, this could finally come true. But my supervisor has already taught to me that I would not be promoted if I want to have another child. I would have been promoted to director years ago if I were a male or had no child. Many less qualified male or single female co-workers were promoted. I'm really frustrated now. I love my job, but at the same time, I really do want another child.
Of nearly 1,000 people we surveyed, only 21% are willing to have more than one child. Among those with one child, only 12% want to have another, while 88% do not. When asked about the reason, the majority pointed to the difficulty in work-life balance as the top reason. In our survey, only 11% felt financially secured enough to stay home and be a full-time mother, while the other 89% will have to continue their job after giving birth. When asked whether the new policy will hinder female employment opportunities, 14% said no, while 59% answered with a firm yes. Two-child policy or not, pregnancy and child-rearing significantly affect females' career development. Only one-third believes their job was not affected in any way, while more than 40% say they missed important trainings or promotions because of the baby. A quarter say they were either demoted or laid off.
On top of the two-child policy, the current economic environment already makes employers reluctant enough to hire female employees who would be pregnant or give birth, let alone a second child. Employers will have to shoulder the burden of lost productivity twice in a short span of years and pay wages during maternity leave, etc. 2 years in, this new policy has indeed exerted a negative impact on female employment, which takes the biggest hit in small businesses. Why I only hire men? Because as a working mother, I know exactly how hard it is to focus on work after having a child. You can't work overtime or travel for business, etc. Male employees, on the other hand, usually don't have the same problems. I do want to have more female employees, but I have to face facts to survive.
Working full-time while having a child creates a misguided impression that female employees will be less dedicated to their work than their male colleagues. Since employers still have to pay salaries during their maternity leave and suffer from reduced productivity, companies are less inclined to hire women.
My previous manager was a very hardworking woman. When she was pregnant with her second child, she was demoted to a less senior position with reduced pay. She said there was no suitable nursery in her home, and she could no longer rely on the grandparents to take care of the kids. She can't take care of 2 kids while working full-time. So she resigned just 2 months after she came back from maternity leave. Her story makes it even harder for me to decide on a second child.
According to a recent national study, public-funded daycares are declining in the last decade. Less than 1% of children 3 years old or younger are in daycares, while the majority of them are being taken care by either grandparents or their moms. Second-child policy will inevitably worsen the situation with more moms giving up their jobs to be a full-time caretaker.
In China, females' career development has ever been under siege by their pregnancy and child rearing. The two-child policy is only making the situation worse, magnifying the already existing inequalities between male and female employment. 71% of people that we surveyed want the government to pass new legislations to push for more equality in workplace.
If new legislations are passed, they are going to add additional burden to employers and the situation will only get worse. In my opinion, our society as a whole, not just employers, should take more responsibility. A stable population growth is needed to keep the economy growing. We need to change our own stereotype. A large population is a resource, not a burden. We should understand that pregnancy and child caring is not productivity loss. Rather, it is women's irreplaceable contribution to the society and should be recognized and protected.
In traditional Chinese values, men are breadwinners while women are homemakers. It provides the convenient cultural justification for workplace discrimination, and the majority that we surveyed agree that this stereotype is indeed the main cause for inequality. Endeavoring to dismantle the centuries-long stereotype should be our next step. The question is, how?
Many countries or regions have legislations to support work or family balance. For example, in Sweden, both parents have a total of 480 days of maternity leave with 80% of their pay. The money is not from the employers, instead, it is the government that pays the bill. The only condition is that the father takes at least 5 months of the leave. This creates a healthy environment in which the father is an equal part of the child-rearing process. At the same time, it eliminates worries for employers because their male employees have to leave too. In stark contrast, maternity leave in China averages 3 to 7 days, at most 15 days.
According to the Chinese government's latest data on birth rate for 2017, the number of newborns continues to decline. This trend is expected to continue if the status quo is maintained. China's economic achievement has been nothing but phenomenal for the past 30 years, and yet workplace equality is still nowhere in sight.